We're in spring training basically, and for the last 6 weeks, 3 of which we had limited hours with and contact with our guys. In the last 3 weeks, team practice, and we're ready to go. One thing that I really appreciate about our guys, I thought they did a great job over Christmas break coming back in really good shape, arm-wise, running-wise, and kept up with their lifting program. And that allowed us to take bigger steps forward. Anytime that you can have your guys in full shape, especially arm-wise, it's very important to get our pitchers off the mound so many times per week and build up their arm strength. And I thought our guys did an unbelievable job over Christmas break of staying in shape and following our workouts. That way we can move forward as a team. We've got our starters built up to 60, 70 pitches in inter-squad situations. So they're ready to go, but we're still going to have some pitch counts, and we're playing 4-game sets early, which is different than our conference weekend. So it's going to force us to pitch a lot of different pitchers and not overextend guys and find some pitching depth and go from there. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
You're most excited about with this squad this year?
Well, it's a veteran lineup. 6 out of our 9 are back from last year that played significant amount of time. So that's always exciting, having a good, stable lineup. Injuries can upset that. Lack of performance can upset that. But I really feel like going into week 1, our lineup is pretty solid and set. So there was not going to be a lot of in and out, hopefully. Pitching staff is another story. Losing 2 out of 3 starters last year. Luke Lind moving on with the Angels, and Reed Fundenstein to graduation. Those are big arms that we're going to have to replace. I feel like we have some good arms to fill those roles, but they haven't done it yet. And I'm from the old school. Show me first. Don't tell me. Show me. So that's what we're going down south for, is to try to get in our 16 games before ultimately our conference opener in the middle of March is the most important target that we have, and we need to get that pitching staff settled down into different roles.
You mentioned everybody coming back and looking good from arm strength, physicality, all of that. Was that something you guys sent them off with at the end of last year, or was that even kind of self-imposed from them, just seeing how close they were?
Both. At the end of fall ball, which ends in the middle of October, our pitchers shut down, just like the major league guys do. As soon as the Twins were eliminated, those pitchers aren't throwing. And they took a good 5-6 weeks off, just like our guys. And then around Thanksgiving time, they come back from Thanksgiving break. Those guys are starting on a throwing program. And we can get that started here on campus, and then Christmas break comes in where we're not allowed to do anything with them. And it's up to them to continue doing that. And I thought our guys did a great job of doing that. And the other challenge is some of these guys don't have facilities to get that throwing in at home. So all those guys did a good job of finding facilities to get their throwing, their lifting, and their hitting done. And then when we came back, the first 3 weeks were mainly captain practices with limited hours that we could have access to them to get bullpens and that sort of thing. And I tell you, our first team practice on January 26th was really fun and exciting to see our guys be able to perform at a pretty good level this early in the season.
What does Jace McClain bring to your outfield coming back off a redshirt year?
Well, some speed, power, strong arm from the outfield. Jace is one of those guys that you see him. He's a big left-handed hitter, really imposing figure. And you put him in the middle of the lineup, it does something to pitchers. He has tremendous power to all fields. He can play all 3 outfield spots, so you don't see that from some guys of his size and stature. But he's an excellent defender in the outfield, and then he brings a good protection piece to somebody like Mason Perchalski comes to mind. And we're going to try some different lineups, but one of the things is having somebody in front and behind Mason to protect him. That way guys get pitched to and can create some good RBI situations. And I tell you, the other thing that Jace has done a nice job in fall and even this spring is his eye at the plate. He walks a ton, so that he has great plate discipline. And, you know, a walk is just as good as a single. So we like that on-base percentage coming from him as well.
The local guy, Carter, what's his role?
Yeah, Carter, you know, one of the things, if you look at our outfield, we have four outfielders that hit left-handed, and Carter, being the fifth outfielder, hits right-handed. So it gives us options for him to be able to come in and offset some of the left-handedness we have in the outfield. And Carter's had a nice spring up to this point.
Coach, Jordan Harms is your #1 guy, at least right now.
He got out to a slow start. He had a little sore shoulder, so he had a setback. And so he's going to go on Sunday this opening weekend, and that's just to give him 2 more days to come back. In fact, he's going to throw tonight, 20 pitches, and then that puts him in line for Sunday, simply because he got off to a slow start with a sore shoulder.
Primarily 4-game series, 3 or 4-game series. You kind of evaluate progress after each series and go from there.
Yeah, you know, we're going to go in. In fact, we're going to meet here this afternoon to kind of finalize our rotation. And the guys that don't make the rotation are going to get into spots where they can get stretched out and keep up their arm strength in case at a later date they need to go into the rotation. Those 4-game sets really challenge you. In fact, this weekend we're playing 4 9-inning games, which is even more of a challenge because we don't want to overextend our guys, and we're going to try not to use anybody twice this weekend, and even our closing position. So we've got to pick and choose when to pitch our guys. We're going to go down there with a good amount of pitchers, and hopefully we can get everybody off the mound at least once and at least multiple innings as well.
What's your schedule look like this week in terms of when you're heading down there, getting outside to practice?
Yeah, we fly out on Thursday. Land about 5 p.m. in San Antonio, and we're scheduled for a 7:30 workout that night, just a little bit of batting practice and to get outside under the lights a little bit, and then play on Friday, and that's if travel goes well.
How valuable is that first outdoor practice?
We've done it both ways, where we've gone there, and because of delays and everything else, we couldn't get on the field, and we went straight from the bubble to our first game. And we've also had opportunities to be outside. I would prefer it. I'd prefer us to get outside and to take some batting practice and take some fly balls and just be able to run around, because the depth perception is probably the biggest adjustment that you have. The ball just looks different inside versus outside, and we want to get our eyes trained to be outside. But you know, we've done it both ways simply because of travel.
Any closer to a starting catcher, clear-cut starter, or still platoon?
You know, Sean Noel's really starting to emerge, and that's the other thing about playing a lot of these games early is we start playing doubleheaders. We don't want to wear out our catcher. We need to find multiple catchers that will catch. I feel confident that in the first 16 games, you're probably going to see 3, maybe even 4 different catchers in different spots. Try to create some depth. You're 1 foul tip away from losing your catcher for the season, and you certainly don't want, you know, to go into middle of March with only 1 guy playing behind the plate, and then all of a sudden you have to make a switch and start breaking in a new catcher. I think it's important that our pitchers throw to multiple catchers and not get set on 1 guy, because injuries can really switch that around in a hurry.